What's up with the chosen, yo? What's up with the real ones, man? The ones who, you don't have to watch these videos, but I'm talking about the ones who shine bright every day, y'all. When you go out in this world, y'all, motherfuckers don't even want to look at you because they envy your face. You know, when I go outside, y'all, it's like a prince or a king walking around, you know, taking over his land as he should have, as he always, you know, should have been, because that's the way people start treating you on this journey. You know, yes, you will have people who despise you, or they might show you love, but then they on that fake shit when they behind you. You know, all I'm trying to tell you is that when you have a glow, you know, and hell yeah, I'm gonna feel, you know, confident about that glow. You know, you might label it as arrogance or as cockiness, but have you put in the work to go so long to where you feel like you earned this type of energy? You know, a lot of people can't go against themselves and come out on top, because it's not an easy thing, family. People struggle in this world, y'all. They want handouts. They want, you know, someone to do it for them. These lazy motherfuckers out here, they don't want to put no type of work in. Most people don't even want to go to the gym, y'all. What makes you think they want anything, you know, with putting work in, if it, you know, if it takes them away where they don't got to, you know? You know, when I shine, y'all, or when I glow like the sun in the sky, y'all, I do this because I like how I, you know, let's just say I like how and who I became, you know, and I like how I show it, so there's no discredit in the making, y'all. You know, I want to show you the glow because it's proof that God gave me something that I worked hard for, you know, and the glow was never outside of me. I didn't put no cream on my face. I don't be using that shampoo and shit to glow like these women and shit out here. No, I used everything that was, you know, deep within me. From the roots it grew into, you know, something that can be, you know, undeniable. So in this video, you know, I don't really have too much to say about what's going on in the world, because you already know that. I'm here to talk about the glow, and more so how powerful it is when you walk out in this world, y'all. You can grab everything without, you know, forcing it, y'all. I'm telling you right now, all these women gonna fucking, you know, be thinking about you in their brains, whether they fuck with you or whether they don't, because every man wants someone who has fortitude. Every woman, take that back, yo. Every woman wants somebody who has fortitude, yo. I'm speaking a little too fast. Too fast for my brain to comprehend these words. But that's how passionate I am. That's how much adrenaline and excitement I have with giving you this video. So I want to say, family, you know, for all my men out here in this world, y'all, who are looking for their girlfriend, who are wanting a girl to treat them right. You know, a lot of men, they'll tell me, or they'll, you know, they'll vent and they'll explain their side of the story. They'll be like, you know, I want a girl who's gonna love me. I want a girl who's gonna, you know, treat me right. You know, not protect me, but make sure I'm straight, and it's gonna help me build on into my life, right? Okay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a thinking strategy, because you're thinking long term. Like myself, y'all, I like to think long term because we're not living here forever. So you want to have an experience to where you're gonna enjoy it fully. But how can you enjoy an experience, y'all, if this shit you're living is half-ass? Why the fuck would you want to jump from somebody to somebody? You know, you're not creating a deeper bond with them that way, y'all. You're just looking for what the fuck you can find, because you're too antsy to stay with somebody else. You don't even like who you are. That's why you feel like you gotta move. But I tell this family, because when you have a glow, when you love yourself, when you realize your power, when you see all these motherfuckers attracted to you like flies to, or like moths to a light. I'm not saying, you know, you become arrogant with the power. You choose who you want. You know, that's why it's important to control the power, you know, when you are given it, yo. And most people will control it. They ain't gonna use it for bad things, yo, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are somebody who wants this power to feel like they can do whatever they want with it, you're never gonna get it, because it's gonna take for your brain and your body to go through metamorphosis before you can obtain this energy, y'all. You can't obtain it if your body ain't on the frequency that it needs to thrive off of, to be able to eventually. For example, when your energy is low and you're a low vibrational being, you don't have hella energy, well, it's not gonna show on your face, because the energy's stuck in one place, which is the lowest parts of you, which is hell. What you're supposed to do is rise. You're supposed to find peace within. You're supposed to cleanse yourself from things that are causing you to stay down. And eventually that energy is going to spiral up Because now you're forcing the energy to rise even higher within you, y'all. Not because you're looking for validation, but because you want to feel what self-love truly is. You want to feel like you can love yourself when you're outside in the public. You want to look in the mirror and think like, man, I like that motherfucker right there. I just want y'all to think about that real quick, family, because it is powerful. But eventually, y'all, when you get to this level, you're not going to be thinking like how you want to fuck everybody, because you're going to love the way you start feeling. So why are you going to try to, take advantage of your own self by trying to fuck with everybody else in the world, yo? It don't work like that. If you think like soulmates, soul ties, and all this shit don't matter, twin flames, we'll go on a long streak, and I promise you're gonna want like a princess type of female, because in a perspective to where you might not be able to get it, but I'm gonna try to give it to you in a way to where you can just dissect this, okay? So, for all the men who want women that are gonna treat them right, be faithful, stay loyal, and is gonna devote her time to you, right? What you gotta do is you gotta make her feel some type of way that nobody in this world could give her, y'all. Fuck the money. Don't talk about no money. Money has nothing to do with your presence, because if a woman wants to hang out with you, y'all, she's gonna hang out with you, and you don't have to have no dollar to your name. So fuck the money. You didn't invent money, so you gotta stop worrying about it. And you gotta stop worrying about what you have or what you don't have. What you want to do is focus on your presence. You want to build it to where it's so light and so powerful that you can't be ignored. Not because you're forcing yourself into their realities, but because they see you as somebody that is uncomparable to who the fuck they are trying to fuck with in their reality. If they vibrate low and they like to live on that physical world, then they might not fuck with you because they're intimidated heavily by you. They don't want to be around you because your energy is too much for them to handle. They don't want to change, y'all. You can't force somebody who don't want to change to change. Leave them hoes alone, Fuck them. It's better to feel good every single day knowing that you are somebody that you love, rather than feel like you gotta chase somebody, or rather you feel like you gotta lose your power to seep on their level. No, fuck that. You work too hard if you are on this journey now, man. But, for what I was telling you about these women, for example, let me give it to you like this. Whenever I'm out in the public, and I encounter women, y'all, they'll stare at me heavily. I'm not gonna say they're gonna give me choosing signs, y'all, because I don't look at it like that, y'all. I don't really talk to women like that because I've studied them and I know how they can, move. This world is deep and it's dark and not everybody's healed. So women are gonna treat you on how they want to treat you. It doesn't matter if you have a light, y'all. If you have a light like this, y'all, they're all gonna avoid you and they're gonna give you evil eyes and shit like that because they want power, or they want to feel what power is. That's why they want to take your energy from you. But now that you know this, family, you must know how to protect your energy in this world, y'all, because the devil is gonna send anybody he can to you to try to get you to deplete yourself. If the girl that you're fucking with has light and she's trying to live in peace, she wants to do better, eat better over time, well, that's a different story. She's trying. She has a consciousness. So she has thoughts that she can fully control on her own without somebody trying to influence her to do things that she don't want to do, You can't stop from a woman from what a woman's going to do, and vice versa. You can't stop a man from what he wants to do. If a man wants to cheat on your ass, he will, or he will find a way. And if a woman doesn't want to fuck with you, you gotta leave it alone, because there's only so much you can do as a person, But I remind y'all that this truth is powerful because, a lot of people in this world might get disrespected, or they might feel like they don't have nothing to live for. That's because you're not taking care of yourself, right? You're not loving your energy. You're not protecting your essence. This shit it can be hard to swallow. It can be real hard to digest, yo, but would you rather live life with truth, or would you rather live in a lie? And if you live in a lie, you have accepted the lie, But, you know, I'm not gonna make this video long. I just wanted to tell that when you have a glow in this world, y'all, people are gonna treat you different. People are gonna want to be around you. Yes, you may have some that envy you. You may have some that want to learn from what you got going on. They might ask you questions. What you do? How do you do it? You know, some people will ask you like, how the fuck are you glowing so heavy out here? That's because, chosen one, while everybody's having fun and shit, you're not. You're taking life seriously because you don't want to die. You know, I don't want to die, y'all. I'm not afraid of death. I can eat death in the face if it need be. But nobody truly wants to die, y'all, unless they regret somebody in the past that they missed. But that's only because you haven't found love within yourself, so you need love from other people. You know what I'm saying, y'all? I can live alone. I can live by myself for eons and not need nothing because I love myself. I look good. I know that, you know, somebody who truly adores me would never want to let me go because ain't nobody going to give y'all this shit like myself, y'all. Ain't nobody trying to glow out here heavy. You know, I'm glowing like the planets that's in the sky at night when you see them. You know, that's how much of a light you become in this world around motherfuckers who are dark because they're not trying to do it, y'all. They don't care enough. They don't have no consciousness, and a consciousness is a thought that you think about all the time. You know, this is what consciousness is. Say you're like a girl and you're thinking about her. That's consciousness because you have a decision to do whatever you want with your energy. Just like how you may think about old girl, you're gonna think about what you can do to become better, what you can do to upgrade. That's consciousness, y'all. If you didn't have consciousness, y'all, you wouldn't be thinking about how to become better. You wouldn't care about your situation. You wouldn't care how you dress. You wouldn't care about your self-respect, you know? But this was what it was, family. The glow, you know, the GLO, the glow. And I'm gonna tell you right now, family, a lot of women will love you, you know, but it's a subconsciously thing, y'all. They're gonna want to be around you. They're gonna want to touch you. And I say, you might ask me, why do they want to touch you? Or you might not believe it because you haven't seen it yet. You gotta get a glow before anything can show. So why they do this is because they want your power. They want your energy. They want to feel what it's like to be in your shoes. Though they can't because they don't have your energy running through you. That's why they might want you to fuck them. Or they might want you just to put your hands around them and give them one big hug. If you could give them one big hug, they will get a taste. They will literally get a taste of that energy, y'all. And they'll be able to survive off of it forever because once you give somebody your energy, y'all, it's never gone fully. It's never gone fully. That's why people love people that even when they're still gone, they still love them. Because that impact that you put on that soul, you know? The soul knows everything, y'all. But the ego doesn't want to, you know, it doesn't want to let it go because the ego wants to feel like he can do anything. If the ego could bring somebody back, he would try. And deep down inside, he don't want to give up because you don't ever want to let somebody go that you love, you know? But the love I'm talking about is divine harmony. I'm not talking about this egotistical, fuck your bitch, treat her like shit, and love on her like a dog. No, fuck that. You know, that's not love. That's control. That's jealousy and hatred to you know, your family or whatever y'all got going on, y'all. And that's why motherfuckers in this generation never last long. You know, most parents in this world have gotten divorced because their parents never loved each other the right way. All they cared about is things in this world. Or they cared about themselves, man. But if you watch this video, family, you know, hope is not lost, man. Because you still have the chance to love yourself and get it right. So you don't have to reincarnate in this fucked up world, y'all. Nobody wants to come back here. I don't. So why would you? You know, especially if things are not falling in the right hands the way you want it to, y'all. But, you know, this is what I tell your family that, you know, you want to get far in life, you want to attract abundance, you want to attract your dream woman or your dream man, you got to ask yourself this. what is it about them that will make them fall in love with me, or make them feel like I'm somebody that can't be replicated? And once you think like that, you realize that it's wartime. It's time to prepare myself for this transformation that I must go through, which is gonna shock myself most importantly. But imagine how everybody else feels about you. They might try to belittle you, yes, but I guarantee you, once they step in your presence, it's like you told them what it was without speaking, y'all. Because you're not gonna give a fuck. You know, if they don't like you or they're throwing tantrums and shit around you, they're only showing you how they feel about themselves when they're around nobody. They argue, they cry, they complain. But you don't want to be like that, family. Men are stoic, and men are somebody who remains untouchable, y'all. You have a throne waiting for you. You have a fucking throne with your name waiting for you. You just gotta call that energy back to you, family, and realize that whenever you get on a high-ass streak, be careful, prepare yourself, and realize that God is gonna send you so much trials and tribulations to see if you can stay strong. But if you can, you will get everything you want in this world, y'all. Money is not everything, because money is a tool. When I'm saying everything, you will get a feeling of how this world truly runs. You will get what's meant for you. You will find things that you may have needed in the past, but now you don't care about it because you love yourself more. So eventually the universe is going to give it to you because it sees that you're ready, you know? But I'll see you on the next video, family. I just wanted to remind you, man, that self-love is the best love. Because anybody can cheat on you, anybody can go fuck your friends, or anybody can, you know, use you for something. But still, you still have yourself at the end of the day, you know? But a lot of people are not going to talk about this on their pages of the divine love and all that spirituality shit, because they don't want it to exist in their reality, which I totally understand. But for it to truly exist, yo, you have to remember that the past has made you. The past is, you know, your founding father, because you wouldn't get here without going through something, you know? We all been through something, y'all. But if you can see yourself on the outside of that, you become a bad and a dangerous motherfucker, you know? But I love your family, I say.